5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ready.
Just relax and enjoy the ride.
In crowd, 815. In crowd, 815. In crowd, 815. In crowd, 815.
Hey, good morning. I'd really rather spend 10 extra minutes driving on an empty road rather than be in traffic. I'm Greg. He's Tom. This is the In Crowd 815 podcast for the 3rd day of May, the year 2025, the latest it has ever been, my friend.
In the history of mankind, speaking of driving empty, I'd rather drive on an empty road rather than drive on an empty tank in traffic.
Dude, we ain't going anywhere.
I've done that before. I got into my car one day. I was having breakfast with my buddy Ron, not the Ron that you used to work with years ago. We were doing breakfast in Beloit, and this was about 2 months ago. And I got out of breakfast. It was about 8:15, and I noticed my tank was on E, and I just hit I-90. Oh no! So I made it to the 75 exit, the South Beloit exit, and then I got gas, and I was sweating it. Because it was on the ding, 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 after it goes bing, bing, bing. And so
I don't like that feeling.
Oh, well, I do not either.
No, not the thing. We've got a good show for you and the person still sleeping next to you. So maybe give them a little nudge and say, hey, Greg and Tom are talking. And we've got a bunch of guests to share with you this week.
Little nudge.
We might talk to the bear. The bear won't talk again. The bear's very silent.
Well, if the bear won't talk, Snoopy will. Snoopy's always good for good conversation.
Wow. We're going to learn all about the camp I Am Me this week, and also talk with Broski over at the Center for Sight and Hearing for their big event coming up in about a little over a month. But first, a little bit of business to take care of. In our current race to 10, Tom is in the lead by a score of 5-3. And the big number of the week this week is 22.6 billion. We've got another billion number this week, 22.6 billion. And the answer is it's supplement or space. Supplement or space. You put your guess in the comments and let us know if you think you have a guess. I'd love to hear someone's little story as someone's feeling creative in the morning. Like, I think 22.6 billion has to do with this answer because of this. That'd be great. Or if you want to just go ahead and Google search it, I don't care. Good luck. It was just a story that came up in the news, I think, in the last week. Within the last 2 weeks anyway, this story came up and this big number was involved, and that's why I grabbed it as our big number of the week this week. So there you go. All right, so let's go ahead and get on to our first guest. We're going to talk about Camp I Am Me. It's amazing how 9 letters can form 4 words, Tom. We're going to talk with Phil and Jesseka and Tim about Camp IME, and I'm going to get them on the screen now. Although one of them has disappeared. I don't know. Did your camera not let you go on the screen with us anymore? Good morning to you all. There we go. Look at this screen, folks.
Wow.
We got
I need a bigger computer.
Let's play with this right here. We're gonna go like that, and we're gonna go like that. It's been a while since we've had this many people on the screen at once. So
this I like. This I can handle. Yeah.
All right, we'll take care. We got the chat going. Good morning, Linda. Thanks for chatting with us here in Rockford. We're gonna start with Phil. Phil, you're the first one I had a chance to chat with about this whole thing. So we're gonna start with Phil. Phil, tell us about yourself real quick. Where did you grow up and go to school, and what career arc led you to where you are today?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. So I grew up in the south suburbs of Chicago in Richton Park. Went to high school in Chicago. Went to college at Northern Michigan University.
You got to tell us your mascot at your high school in Chicago, Phil. That's
the Crusaders.
Oh, the Crusaders. Can we make fun of the Crusaders, Tom? Probably not.
No, we shouldn't.
That's not like
the don't go out in the rainstorm. Come on now.
What about your college? What was your college mascot?
Yeah, the Wildcats. Very uncreative. But after that, moved to Arlington Heights, and that's where I've been since. And then, prior to me joining Camp IME, I actually worked at a regional training facility for law enforcement and fire service. I was there for 9 years. I was in charge of developing training programs for firefighters and law enforcement officers. And when I learned about the opportunity to work at Camp IME 11 years ago or so, I just thought the mission was fantastic, and the opportunity to grow the organization was something I thought I had a knack to do, and have been doing this for the past 11 years now.
Awesome. Okay. Wow. All right. Well, we'll get into the organization in a little bit. I want to ask Tim a little bit about himself. Tim, where did you grow up and go to school and all that fun stuff that led you to the Rockford Fire Department?
Thanks for asking. So I grew up in Chicago and in the southwest suburbs, not too far from where Phil grew up, actually. I think our high schools played each other through the years. My high school mascot was an Argonaut. So it has to do with ships. Yeah.
Okay. Jason, your quarterback?
Yeah. College, I started Moraine Valley down in that area, and then I have a degree from Columbia Southern University, which is out of down on Gulf Shores. And then I tested and applied for my career in Rockford about 25 years ago, and I've been fortunate enough to be here since then. So it's a far drive, and honestly, when I was moving, my grandfather said that's 90 miles away. He said, my only concern is, can you get WGN? Can you see and hear WGN on the radio? So that was the big question. I said, yeah, on 7:20 a.m. we could.
That's right. Don't worry, Grandpa. Covers the whole Midwest.
So I was lucky. Yeah, yes. So I was fortunate to have a law enforcement background for about 9 years also. And then when I got away from that, I actually tested and promoted up through the fire prevention division, where I was a fire and arson investigator. I hold the rank of captain now, and now I also coordinate all of our fire prevention efforts, which encompasses our recruitment, all of our community outreach, public education, our fire investigation, and all of our code enforcement inspections. And we're a direct tie. We have a direct tie to preventing fires, right? That's the whole goal of Fire Prevention Division. So we've been involved or in some sort of fashion with Camp IME and Illinois Fire Safety Alliance since just prior to me even starting. So once I got into the division, it was an easy relationship. And then meeting Phil and working with him for the last, I forget how many years it is now. It's been great. So we're a good partner with them, and we enjoy working with them on many fronts. And that absolutely helps our city out and Northern Illinois for sure.
Nice. Good deal. Thank you, Tim. All right, Jesseka, you're up next. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where'd you grow up and go to school, and what led you to where you are today?
Yes. So I grew up in Sterling, Illinois my whole life, and I graduated from Sterling High School. And
Sterling High School is, I can't remember what their mascot is, Tom.
Don't really have a mascot. We're the Sterling Warriors.
Oh, they're Warriors. Okay. Well,
Warriors, yes.
I was the Muskego Warriors where I grew up in Muskego, Wisconsin. So go Warriors. All right.
Yes. And now I've been at the University of Iowa for the past 3 years, and I am going for nursing.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. And let's start with you as far as your involvement with Camp I Am Me. I have, from my understanding, you started out as a camper yourself and then became a volunteer. How did that work?
Yeah, I started going to camp when I was 8, and this summer it will be my 13th year and my first year as an official counselor. So I'm very excited for that.
13th years. Oh my gosh. So I'm assuming there's a story behind how you became a camper yourself. How much of that would you like to share? Just open the floor to tell us about that.
Sure, yeah. So when I was 1, I was at my babysitter's house, and she had gone off to do something, so I was alone for a little bit, and I was just walking around, and there was a fireplace that was on in the living room, and we think that I was walking around and I tripped, and my hand ended up going in the fire.
Okay.
So after that, my mom had walked in, and I got airlifted to Madison, Wisconsin, and that's where my surgeon is. And I was there for a month initially, and then I had about 1 to 2 surgeries every year as my hand grew, fixing the tight skin and whatnot. But my last surgery was when I was in 7th grade. So I've been good to go for a long time now. And yeah, camp has just really been a blessing in my life. So started going when I was 8. My Uncle Joe used to volunteer at camp for a long time. And so he had told my dad about it, and then that's how I got involved with camp.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been one of those who've been able to help other kids see that, hey, yes, this terrible thing that happened to you doesn't have to be an end. It can be a beginning to something else.
For sure. Yes.
And so, gosh, can you imagine? I mean, you probably lost track of how many surgeries you actually had. I mean, do you a couple dozen surgeries over the years?
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely over 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's wild. So, and obviously, were your surgeons able to keep your hand functional the whole time? I mean, how bad was the burn?
Yeah, so I ended up losing my pinky and then about half of my ring finger, but as far as it goes, it's very much still very functionable.
Okay.
And it's never stopped me. I mean, I've done pretty much every sport growing up. Threw a softball with this hand because the glove didn't fit to where I could use my left hand. Gymnastics, cheerleading. So yeah, I mean, I just was raised and taught, and initially from my mom. Obviously camp, helped with that too, but just never let it stop me, and have always continued to do whatever I want to do.
Awesome. Good deal. Well, Phil, let's get you back here on the main screen and ask you about the camp. And Jessica's experience, I'm assuming, is not all that unique from the stories you hear from the other kids that are and young people that get involved with this camp.
Yeah, each year at camp, we have anywhere from 50 to 75 campers that join us from across the state of Illinois and beyond. We've had kids from Texas, Kansas, Indiana, Iowa, and unfortunately, given that this is a youth camp, yes, a lot of their injuries occur, obviously as children or even as babies, whether it's home fires or accidents or scald injuries, which we see a lot of. But what's wonderful about our summer camp specifically is that it's a 1-week overnight camp. We bring these children together with all of our volunteers, and it's an opportunity for especially the newer campers to see that they're not the only ones out there that have gone through this type of horrific injury. And when they meet people like Jesseka and realize that, like you said, it's not the end, they still have the opportunity to thrive despite their injuries. And that's really what the camp is all about. The campers do a fantastic job of communicating with one another. And our volunteer staff, we typically have about 50 volunteers that are there through the entire week with the kids at the activities, in the cabins at night, at the meals. And about 30 to 40% of our volunteers are actually former campers or they're adult burn survivors. And who better to relate to these young children that have just gone through some sort of horrific event than former youth survivors or adult burn survivors that can talk to them and relate to them. So it's a really neat cycle to see, despite the awful injuries that occur. It's a week that brings nothing but joy and happiness, and everyone just gets to have a good time and be themselves.
Nice. Now your organization, I see, is based out of Mount Prospect, or is that where the camp is held?
So our office is in Mount Prospect. We consider ourselves a statewide organization. The camp itself is in Ingleside, which is in northern Lake County.
Okay. So is the camp open to state of Illinois folks, Midwest folks, the entire country? What is it open to?
Yeah, so right now we allow any youth burn survivor to join us from across the country. It does not matter where. Obviously, most of our campers are coming from the state of Illinois, but we would be happy to take any child that is interested in our camping experience. There's no cost to attend any of our programs that we offer throughout the year. And the nice thing about Illinois itself is, we're at the top of Lake County where the camp's at. It's a big state. We provide transportation options across the state. So if the parents or guardians can't bring their children to and from the camp, we have a bus that starts in the St. Louis area that'll bring them up. We have a bus that goes through Chicago and the suburbs to pick kids up. Tim and the Rockford Fire Department grab one of their vans and typically haul 6, 7, 8 kids to and from camp from the Rockford region. So we'll do anything that we can to get our campers to the camp, whatever means it takes to get them there and have them experience what so many others have been able to experience.
That's cool. Have you been involved in busing kids to camp, Tim, or your folks here in Rockford?
We have. We participate in a couple ways, and one of them is that being a designated region for transportation. So the city of Rockford has been a good host, and the fire department specifically. So we will have 2 of our fire inspectors or 2 of our fire investigators, which whoever is available, which I usually have a list of people who wish to do this. So I have to have a little competition for them because they're excited to be part of it. So we're a designated point. Phil and his staff handle all the documentation, and we prep and talk weeks and days ahead of time. There's a formal procedure of who we pick up, what time. Obviously, all the information between the parents and the kids. We share our information with them so they know who's driving them, they have our phone numbers for those specific parents. We get them to the camp, and then a week later we go back and then pick them up and bring them back to our area. And what we like about that is it affords some of the individuals that may not be able to get to the camp, right? So we afford that transportation from this area. Not all of them are from the city of Rockford, but they're from the area. So we're happy and excited to always do that for filling the camp. So it's nice to see their faces once they get there. And when they come back, you can always tell that they have a bigger smile because a lot of them are apprehensive at first. So once they come back, they're like, this was the greatest thing ever. So it's nice to see that.
I put a link in the chat. If you're following us on Rumble, YouTube, or Facebook, there should be in the comment section there, a link to register for this webinar that they're doing 3 times here in the month of May. Learn more about Illinois Camp for Young Burn Survivors. Join for a virtual question and answer session, either this Monday at 12:30, Wednesday, May 14th at 12:30, or Thursday night, May 22nd at 6:30 And in case my little name thing I can't get off the screen is blocking the QR code, I got the link in the chat, so you can click on that and go right to the sign up to be a part of this webinar. Jesseka, I got to ask you, being someone who's gone to this camp for years and years now, what is one or two of like the big highlights that you hear campers talk about every year that is like, we're so glad we came because of this. We had so much fun doing that. Is there like a highlight of the week that seems to resonate throughout the years that you've been involved?
Yeah, I think kind of the main takeaway is always just the community that you feel when you're there, and just the sense of we're all the same here, and we're just here to hang out and have a good time and be around people with similar experiences. It just kind of, you see that it creates such a safe place, especially for new campers. So I think that's the main thing, is it's such a safe place, and just the way that the whole week flows. You definitely see the turnaround, especially in new campers, that the first couple of days, they're kind of like, I don't want to be here. This is new. But then they get used to the flow of things. And it's just really nice to see them.
So I think someone's dog wants some screen time.
I know.
Oh, we want to meet
He's
him.
like, what are you talking about?
Why aren't you talking to me?
So Jesseka, I have a couple of quick questions or actually comments. I understand the whole camp thing, not this type of summer camp. Never had experience with this, but my daughter became diabetic when she was 9, and she ended up going to diabetic camp for probably 5 or 6 years while she was still a young girl. And she looked so forward to that, because now you are with people with your same issue, whatever it might be. And, instead of her being at school and everybody's eating Twinkies for lunch and she can't, now she doesn't have to worry about that. She is with her own people, her own friends, and she made some lasting friendships through that experience. So I think that is so wonderful. And the other thing I was going to say is, I had a really bad motorcycle accident, which left me, you can't see it, but I got a scar here because I have my ulna and my radius are fused together. Well, that meant my left hand, I couldn't catch a ball, and I still play softball. I couldn't catch a ball, so I had to do the exact same thing. Learn how I catch with my right, throw with my left. I can actually throw faster and more accurately now with my left hand than I can with my right arm. So I completely learned how to do everything left-handed as well. So I think that was awesome. And one other thing, unless Greg misspelled your name, I love the fact that it's Jesseka with a K.
Yes, thank you.
That wasn't so cool.
That wasn't me.
What was the impetus for that? Just your mom wanted to be different, or what?
Yeah, my mom wanted to be different. My brother ended up picking out my name, and then my mom said, okay, well, I want to change the spelling of it. So she just started writing different ways, and we came up with the EKA at the end. So
I will say you are the second person I've met spelled Jesseka that way. My wife taught a gal at Christian Life School who also spelled her name that way. So you are the second one. You're unique. You're just not super unique.
But was it JESSEKA or IKA? So she may still be the most unique.
That's true. It might have been IKA. It might have been IKA. I can't remember for sure, but I know it was SS and it was KA at the end. So, well, this is, I really appreciate all the stuff that you guys are sharing today. And this has been a really opening experience, Phil. Is there anything we did not ask you about this year's camp or the organization in general that you want to make sure we talk about before I go to our AI questions of the week? I got AI who gave me some questions for you this week.
Yeah, so the summer camp itself, it's our signature program. It has been our longest lasting program. We've been running it since 1991. So it's the most well-known program. We have tons of partners in the fire service, in the medical community, and then just support from the general public. But over the years, we've been able to really expand on our programming for further support of burn survivors. We provide scholarship opportunities, which I know Jesseka has been able to receive some scholarship funds for college. We also provide family events where we're going We're doing zip lining and a baseball game and Great America this summer. So lots of family activities as well. And then we also do some retreats, young adult retreats. We're working on putting together a family camp. So we have a whole host of support programs for individuals from young children and through adulthood for the burn survivor community. And then as Tim had preferenced earlier, we also have another portion of our mission, which is fire safety and burn prevention. The goal is to not have to put these programs on. And so we work with the fire departments to provide them with smoke alarms and fire safety and burn prevention education materials to educate and protect their residents within their communities to try to prevent these type of injuries from happening. And hopefully one day we won't have to put these programs on here in Illinois, because we've done our job and met our mission of stopping these incidents from occurring.
And that's probably a question I should ask to Tim here too. What, after years of doing this sort of thing, is there a number one or a top two fire prevention advice that you give to people that, hey, this is where we see most people get their injuries from, so please do this instead of that? Is there a big one that really kind of seems to cover a lot of incidences?
Greg, thank you. That's a good question, and I can talk for hours for you, but I'm not going to. So with that, here in the city of Rockford and nationally, our averages are about the same. So it used to be smoking was the number one reason for accidental fires across America and in the city of Rockford. But over the last 10 years, that has switched, where about 7, 8, 9 years ago, unattended cooking became the number one cause of all accidental fires in general, which also contributed to a ton of injuries and or unfortunately fatalities. We've had all of that in the city of Rockford just from cooking, unattended cooking, or people don't know what to do, just from the skillet starting on fire, some grease, instead of just covering it with a lid, turning the stove off and leaving it be. People, unfortunately, which we try to prevent ahead of time with education and events and with help with organizations like IFSA, just cover it up, leave it in place. Don't put water into the skillet. Don't try to carry it and move it. And unfortunately, we still see injuries between scalding for younger people, usually, unfortunately, into some other major injuries requiring surgery or hospitalization, and unfortunately some fatalities. So cooking is by far the number one reason. So we want to really give cooking the respect it should. We all take it for granted because we do it every day, but it is the number one thing that still causes our injuries here in the city of Rockford.
Yeah. Are you a big advocate of these fire blankets that they're promoting a lot? See a lot on the social media these days?
Yeah, I smiled because I spent about 40 minutes on the phone with an elderly gentleman the other day who was mad because I wouldn't tell him which fire blanket to buy. I said, well, I can't be biased as a public servant, but we don't have a lot of research completed with the fire blankets, so I really can't speak with them, the pros or cons to them. There's tons of other items out there that can help. The number one thing, obviously, first off, is our working smoke alarm. And we work with grants and obtain grants, and also are sponsored by Phil Zaleski and his group, where we receive free smoke alarms, which are starting to become more expensive. And we, as the City of Rockford Fire Department, will go into your home and install them for free for you if you are in need of them. So that is number one. And number two, specific to cooking, is just that education piece. Don't leave it unattended, and make sure you know what to do if it does flare up. Cover it with a lid. And again, I can't really give you a straight answer on the blankets because I don't have any. They haven't been out long enough, and I don't have any data to show the pros and cons to using them at this time.
Well, the best blanket is the one you're actually going to use, right? It's not
right.
If you buy one and it gets hidden in a closet somewhere, and when you need it, you completely forget it's there. It was pointless. But it's the one that you're actually going to be able to use when it's needed, right?
Well, I have kind of a silly question. What would separate blanket A from blanket B? I mean, aren't they pretty much all the same thing? They all do the same thing. It's like you buy a brand new car. They're both going to drive down the road and make right and left turns and go in reverse.
Sure.
So you really can't go wrong, right, with either of them.
I'll just jump in real quick. What I would suggest is because a lot of these, you're seeing a lot of them pop up. make sure that they're tested by a testing company. UL, which is based in Northbrook here, they do testing on all types of equipment and fire service products. That would be the most important thing, I'd say, is make sure that if you are going to purchase one, that it is tested by a testing company such as UL, because if it's not, if something were to occur and you attempt to use one of these blankets and it's a cheap knockoff, it can make things worse. So that would be my one point of suggestion for those fire blankets.
Yeah.
If I could just back up to Phil, what he's saying, he's absolutely right. UL is a great partner. Actually, I just spoke with Dan Madrikowski, who's one of their top educators, to have him out for a conference this fall for fire prevention down in Peoria. But going back to the blankets, some of the things I see, there's different sizes too, but you're right. The material are probably the same, but if it's been tested through a third-party system. So you'll see companies like UL, Underwriter Laboratories, or ETL. You don't want to buy just anything we find online that doesn't show that it has been third-party certified by certain companies that have tested it to make sure, because yes, the materials are probably the same, but depending on the weight, the size, if you have a skillet or an inch, even just 1 inch of cooking oil on the stove and it's ignited, what we find when we see people do with it, they'll try to travel with it. They think we have to bring it to the sink or bring it outside, and that's where we see a lot of our injuries. So if I have a blanket, I'm always fearful that if we start pushing these without having all the proper information, that people may throw those onto the stove, knock over the oil, and it's really defeating what we were hoping to accomplish in the first place. So that's one of my worries, and we just don't have enough data yet for that. It's something new, and we're in a fast-paced world where it's like, hey, this came out 3, 5, 10 years ago. Well, it's still in its infancy compared to the other fire prevention devices we have, like alarms and education. So yeah, we can't really, we don't really work with those blankets too much anymore, or currently. But we want to keep focusing on the education piece and then the early warning with those smoke alarms.
Just throwing water on an oil fire, not a good idea.
Never good.
That part I think we could all agree on. So awesome. All right. So let's see. Is this going to work for us? That makes us look so small, doesn't it? I've got my AI questions of the week here for you guys, and I think we did a pretty good job covering them all. But I need to go back to here and turn that thing off. That'll make us look a little bit better. I've been asking AI. I've been playing around with AI to give us some questions for our guests, and let's see how good we did according to our Gemini.google.com AI service here today. Interviewing Phil, the executive director of Camp IME. And AI says it's a wonderful opportunity to highlight the incredible work that they do. Here are 3 good questions for Phil. Number 1, Camp IME provides such a unique and supportive environment for young burn survivors. Could you share the core mission of the camp and what makes it such a transformative experience for the children and teenagers who attend? And maybe we should defer to Jesseka on this. Did we answer this question well enough today, or do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Me? I'm sorry.
You have anything you want to add to that, Jesseka?
To the question?
Yeah. The supportive and unique environment that you get at this camp. Can you share about the core mission of the camp and what makes it such a transformative experience to children and teenagers? What can you add to that, I guess, that we already said?
I think that it comes from even just the past, like how Phil had mentioned, our counselors, they make up, burn survivors and volunteers. So I think it's really helpful that when new campers do come, they already see that leadership position and they know that they can trust someone that has already been a burn survivor or someone that has experience in the community. I feel like that's really helpful. Yeah, I think that's kind of the main core thing, is you just know that you have that person that you can go to for anything that has already had the same experiences as you.
All right. Anything you want to add, Tim or Phil? About
Bill,
the core mission of the camp?
He's got the answers.
Yeah, it's I would just add to that it's an opportunity when you're around all of your peers, it's an opportunity for you just to be yourself and not have to worry about if you have a visible scar, people looking or asking about it. You could just be yourself while you're at camp for the week. It helps build your self-esteem and your self-confidence. And like Tim said, when they're getting back on the van to head home, you can tell that they just had a wonderful week, and they feel a little bit more confident in themselves than when they arrived a week earlier.
Okay. All right. There's two more on this one. Question number 2. What are some of the specific programs and activities that Camp IME offers, and how do these contribute to the campers' healing process physically and emotionally? You talked about adding, I think you said zip lines or something this year or something like that. So, well, any other programs or activities that you feel really contribute to campers' healing processes?
Yeah, what's nice about the camp is we have all of the traditional camp activities, such as archery and swimming and crafts and things like that. But there is a whole host of activities that are specifically designed for the campers and internal healing. We have the Challenger program. We do life boxes. We have journaling. And each of our volunteers kind of leads these different specialized activities. And the nice thing is that the kids, the campers, get to bring those resources, those journals, those life boxes home. And it's not just used during the week of camp. It's something that they can look back on for the next year. And so, yes, it's a lot of fun, but we do have some specialized events and activities that do work on the healing from their injuries.
Awesome. All right. And then the final one here, the success of Camp IME relies heavily on the dedication of volunteers and support of the community. How can individuals here in the 815 area get involved and contribute to the work of the camp? Are you looking for volunteers even for this summer still?
Yeah, lots of volunteer opportunities. They're all listed on our website. So the volunteers that will be at camp the entire week have already been selected. We go through a training program with them, and we're preparing them to be at camp for the 7 days that they'll be there. However, we have some big events. We have a mini carnival that comes to the camp that we need assistance with volunteers running games and activities. We have some additional opportunities throughout the week, being servers at meal times, running craft activities. So yeah, there's all sorts of different opportunities for volunteers to come to camp specifically, and then other volunteer opportunities throughout the year as well that can be found on the website.
Always a lot of logistics when you've got a camp. Then you got how many normally attend the camp at summer here too? The number of
so kids, we have between 50 and 75 campers, but the volunteers, we have about 50 volunteers that are there the entire week. On the Wednesday of camp, we typically get about 50 fire departments that have 2 to 3 personnel on each of their vehicles, and they do a big parade on the campsite. We have another 50 volunteers that come and run the carnival for us. And then we have a whole host of other volunteers that are coming and going throughout the week, leading different activities. It does take a village. It's really impressive to see the dedication and effort by individuals that don't have to do it, but that show up every year and make the best week for our campers.
So you don't have to be a counselor to plug in and
you do not. Nope.
Here.
Nope. We'll take you for a couple hours on a day if that works for you.
Food service, craft leading,
Yep.
different, all kinds of different things to plug into. So check out the website. We got it in the chat right there, so you can just click on the link. If you're following us on Rumble, YouTube, or Facebook, that link should be there. All right. So Tom's got some trivia for us. We're going to bring Kurt on the screen, and here we go with this week's Tom Trivia. All right, as we shuffle the screen up. Good morning, Kurt Broski. How are you, my friend?
Good. How are you?
Good deal. Thanks for joining us, and hopefully you can help us with some trivia before we get into all things Center for Sight and Hearing today. So, Tom, you're center square there, buddy. What do you got?
Here we go, center square. All right, there we go. Like the Hollywood squares. I'm the biggest square. All right. We got a mixed bag of trivia here, and you guys are all playing as a team. Greg, the rule is normally let everybody else try and guess first, and then you can guess if they can't get it.
Always
Unless,
ruling me out. Come on, man. Come on.
Well, we want the guests to have fun. I mean, come on now. All right. All right, here we go. Question number 1. It is an NFL question, specifically the draft. Which NFL team had the overall number 1 pick in the NFL draft this past weekend?
Anybody know that? I honestly don't remember.
It was traded. I thought they traded it up.
I can give you options.
Here's my guess. Was it either Tennessee, Jacksonville, or Cleveland? One of those 3 teams, Tom? Was it one of those 3 teams?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
It was one of those 3 teams. All right.
Which one?
I got it. It was the
Titans.
It was the Tennessee Titans.
Tennessee Titans.
All right.
Ding, ding, ding. Yes,
All
absolutely. Right. All right. And you didn't have to worry. I didn't give you options. So you guys all worked it out. That's good. Good. All right. Question number 2. As far as a sixth sense, what does ESP stand for? This is an easy one. Anybody can join on this one. ESP. If someone has ESP, they have what?
Any help?
Extrasensory perception.
Correct. Absolutely.
All right.
You guys are off to a wonderful start. 2-0. 2-0. Let's keep this train rolling. No one's ever gotten a perfect score. So, all right, here we go. Number 3. In 1937, author Margaret Mitchell, that should be enough right there, wrote this book which won a Pulitzer Prize and was subsequently turned into a movie. What was the name of the book and then the subsequent movie? Once again, in 1937, author Margaret Mitchell wrote this book, which won a Pulitzer Prize and was subsequently turned into a movie. Name the book/movie.
I'm horrible at trivia, guys.
1937. Oh my goodness. I
We phone a friend.
I'll take a guess. I don't know if it's
throw a guess out there. We can brainstorm. We don't have to settle on your answer. Go ahead. What do you think it might be?
Sound of Music?
Sound of Music?
No, but that's your mulligan. You get one more guess. Oh
my gosh.
Gone with the Wind?
Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
Gone with the Wind.
Very good.
Yep. And oddly enough, it beat out The Wizard of Oz for the Best Picture and several other awards. Wizard of Oz would have won a ton of awards on its own if it would have been a year earlier or a year later. But it just luck of the draw, I guess. All right. Very good. Very good. Question number 4. Who was born first? Was it Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson or the Pet Rock? Once again, who was born first? Born in quotes, because a pet rock can't be born. It could be found under another rock, maybe. Anyway, who was born first? Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson or the Pet Rock?
Once upon a time, Jesseka, technology was such that we actually had these things called pet rocks. They were literal rocks sold in a box that we named and carried around with us like they were something special.
The guy made $6 million off
selling
of
rocks.
And after 6 months, nobody was buying them anymore because everybody did I really buy one of those?
Go outside and get one.
I think it was the Pet Rock, you guys. You think?
I think so too.
I think it was around longer than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
I agree.
Okay. The answer is okay. So Pet Rock came around in 1975.
Oh no.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, born in 72.
Perfect
score.
Why? I was 5 years old in 1975, and I can tell you right now, my parents did not buy me a pet rock. Just in case you're wondering about my dad's makeup and what he was a blue collar guy. He was not going to buy a stupid rock.
my dad went out to the alley and found a big rock and tossed it at me and hit me in the head.
There you go.
I'm kidding. I never did have a pet rock. The funny thing is, here's the way I reasoned this one. Dwayne Johnson played college football for the University of Miami from 91 through 94. I knew it was early 90s. I wasn't sure exactly on it. And I thought, okay, all right, if that's the case, then he had to have been born in early 70s. 75 would have put him at 85, 95. Would have put him at 18 and 73.
I was sure the pet rock was a 60s thing. I thought it was a hippie thing. So I was
no. 1975.
All right. Sorry, guys. We got one wrong.
I meant 18 in 1993. But anyway. All right. So, yeah, there you go. Question number 5. In 1996, scientists successfully cloned an animal named Dolly. What was the animal?
Sheep.
Yeah.
Was it a sheep?
Yes, that is correct.
Dolly the sheep.
Or should I say,
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. All right. All right. You only got one wrong. This is awesome. You're right on line with being the top team. What is the official sandwich of Philadelphia? Before you guess, I'm going to give you one hint. Believe it or not, it's not the Philly cheesesteak.
Oh, good thing you gave us the hint, because that's what I thought for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So what is the official sandwich of Philadelphia? It's not the Philly cheesesteak.
Do they have a sandwich called New York Sucks? Because if they do, that would be it.
Oh, they sell a ton of those.
It's going to be something Italian, but I don't know.
Which is the bigger rivalry, Philadelphia and New York, or Boston and New York? Who hates who more? I don't know.
It's hard to beat that Boston New York rivalry. That's pretty tough.
I know.
Yeah.
And yet they've only played in the playoffs like 3 times in their entire career, because they're in the same division. And back in the day, they didn't play each other because the division winner went to the World Series, right? To the World Series. Anyway, think of sandwiches. Okay, so let me just describe the sandwich. It's a big old sandwich. It's on a bun, and it's a split bun, and all the stuff goes in it.
I mean, blimpies, hoagies, sub sandwiches. I mean, there's all these different names for them. I don't know. Any ideas? Any East Coast connections that you can draw?
Italian beef, maybe.
All right, I tell you what. I'm going to give you one small hint. It rhymes with something golf related. If you're having a really bad day in one particular hole,
a Reuben. I was gonna say, was it a Reuben sandwich?
No.
I think you stumped us on this one, Tom.
All right.
Rhymes with mulligan?
So, no. If you have one over par, you have a what?
A bogey.
Which rhymes with
a hoagie.
Hoagie.
A hoagie.
You said it, but you said it in a list of 3, and I'm like, oh, I can't give it to you for that. All right.
I got a buddy who grew up in New Jersey, and they call sub sandwiches blimpies out there.
Yeah.
They have, at least, yeah. Anyway, blimpie, hoagie, subs, whatever.
Well, wasn't the Hindenburg from New Jersey?
I
think that's where it crashed. Oh, the humanity.
Yes,
all right.
Yes.
All right. So question number 7, I'm kind of regretting this one. I didn't realize we'd have guests from all parts of Illinois.
One last question.
It's
what do we
Rockford trivia.
Okay.
But I have 2 options for you. In what year was Lincoln Middle School built in Rockford, Illinois? Was it 1927 or 1932? It's a 50-50, total
32.
50. And I'm the only one here from Rockford, and I went there, so
We're hoping it's 32, Tom. 1932.
I'll ask it again. Rockford trivia. What year was Lincoln Middle School built in Rockford? 1927 or 1932?
I think in 1927.
Is it 1927, Tom?
No, it's 32. No, I'm kidding. It was 27. It was 27. Yes. You guys ended up with 2 wrong. I'm giving you that last one because that was kind of an unfair question.
Well,
that
Phil's Igloo has deemed him near. We're losing his camera, so.
Yeah, must be snowing.
His igloo is melting.
He told us before the show that it's coming down today, so maybe it's just trying to let him know, hey, I'm in charge.
We could see a faint. Now we got an angel and we got an image.
So. I don't know what's going on here.
He's trying to steal my thunder over here with the angelic look.
There you go.
Well, Camp I Am Me, again, all the links are in the chat. So click on those. If you want to volunteer, plug in for a week and serve. That would be an awesome thing to do for, that would be one of the highlights of your summer is volunteering at Camp I Am Me. So Tim, Jessica, Phil, thank you so much for joining us today. And you guys have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for having
All right, we're going to switch this over here and switch that over there and boom, bang, boom. And look there, it's Kurt Broski on the screen. How are you doing, Kurt?
I'm doing great. Thanks.
I so appreciate you joining us today. And can you believe it was 5 years ago that you were on our podcast when we really even weren't a podcast at the time.
Yeah, you guys have really grown. That's awesome.
We were still trying to do our show like a radio show the last time you were on it. And it took us a while because we're guys, we're kind of thick-skulled, we kind of figured out eventually that we can't doing radio on Facebook and YouTube really wasn't the way to go. We needed to join the ranks of the podcasters. And so now we've got a lot more focus, and our goal really is to have all 197 of the not-for-profits in the 815 area to be on the show at least once.
Oh, that's great.
So there's 197 like registered not-for-profits in the 815, and I think we're up to like 80 now. So we're getting there.
Fantastic.
But tell us again, Kurt, about yourself. Are you a born and bred Rockfordian?
Yep, I went to Boylan High School, Titans, and then I went to Iowa State, and then I got my MBA at Rockford University. Used to be Rockford College, but
it was Rockford College when my daughters both went there. So yeah,
nice.
I still have a Rockford College dad, soccer dad, or whatever shirt.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And my wife graduated from there too. So yeah, it's good. All right. Something is pumping up on my screen. So if we ended up having to reload and log back on, just so you know, we might have to reload and log back on, but hopefully this will be okay.
And we're very dog friendly on this show. So Kurt, is that your dog, or Greg? Is that
That's not my dog.
Well, there we go. That's my dog. the neighbor must be doing something. Anyway, yeah. So the Center for Sight and Hearing, tell us about your involvement with that, Kurt.
Yeah, so my dad was on the board there. He was very active in Rockford, was on a lot of different boards, but he was on the board there, and then he became interim president. And during his tenure as interim president, they got the Excelsior Award from the Register Star. It's a pretty prestigious award for one of the best non-for-profits that year, and they've continued to a level of excellence, I would say. He passed away 19 years ago, but this is actually, so when he passed away, they decided to do a golf outing in his name to help the center go, and they asked me to be on the golf committee, and so I've been doing this now for 20 years. It's hard to imagine, but it's our 20-year anniversary of doing this golf outing. So
that is pretty awesome. So what does the money raised at a golf outing like this actually go to do? What does it serve its purpose?
Well, that's a great question. But before I answer that, so see those guys in that picture? Jackson Oshita, the gentleman with the beard, these guys, I don't know all their names, but I know Jackson pretty well. Those guys have been playing all 20 years. Isn't that cool? So, and I just think that's the neatest thing. But they use the money to help buy new equipment. Like this year, they're continuing they had to buy it's called an OCT machine, which is a optical coherence tomography machine, which basically does an ultrasound of your eye. And it's pretty expensive. And hopefully with this year, they'll be able to pay that whole thing off. And that's kind of what they do with the proceeds, is we pick a particular thing or a fundraiser that they need to help them out. So that's kind of what's cool about it. And I'm pretty much in charge of going to sponsors and ask them for money. So it's nice to have a specific thing that your money's going to, as opposed to just going into a general fund.
Right. And for folks that want to plug into this, we'll get this link here to the Facebook page on the chat, so it's easy to find. And you guys been at Forest Hills Country Club for all this time, or is?
I think the first couple of years we did it at Aldine, but I think for at least the last 18, we've been doing it at Forest Hills, which is a great venue. Aldine's great too, but my dad was a member at Forest Hills, and it's kind of appropriate that it's there, and it's kind of cool because a lot of people don't get to play that course all the time, and this is an opportunity to play it, and it is one of the premier courses in the Northern Illinois, in my opinion.
Oh, it's still my favorite of all the courses in Northern Illinois. I think it's the best of them all, but obviously every course has its quirks and its little things that people love and hate about it. So the Forest Hills Country Club also recently had some renovations done. So their banqueting area has been upgraded, and they've got that adjacent bar area that used to be it kind of turned into a nothing space for quite a while. They've redone that now, so it's beautiful. So they've really done a nice job at Forest Hills. If you haven't been there lately, you want to go and check that out. So your dad's involvement with the Center for Sight and Hearing, he was involved in it for quite a while. What was his impetus, I guess, for getting involved in it in the first place?
That's a great question. I never really talked to him about that. He kind of died suddenly. He was 72, but he died suddenly. We never really got into that. But he was always, he's been involved. He was a football coach for flag football back when flag football was a real big thing here. But he was involved in a bunch of different boards, and we were actually he coached the Ken Abraham Steelers. And it's funny when he passed away. I can't tell how many kids came. They used to play for him, and I still see people today said, "Oh, I remember your dad. He was my coach." So, but he just loved being involved, and he saw that the center was just a great place to help people out that have issues with hearing and seeing, and so I think that's why I got involved.
Yeah. Is there some businesses or some other local supporters that you'd kind of like to give some acknowledgement to today that has really helped to make this event what it has become over the years?
Sure. Well, first of all, it's the Lions Club. They donate a lot, and they actually got the Center for Sight and Hearing up and running back in the early 1950s.
Oh, okay.
So they do a lot of support for it. But we've had sponsors for 20 years, like Schmaling Construction, Area Rectors, Wells Fargo. We picked up some new ones like Simcoe and Iconic Energy, who does the solar stuff. There's just a ton. Illinois Bank and Trust has been with us for a number of years now. We have some individual ones like Gus Gettner, great guy, used to be the IT guy at Winnebago County. He's retired and still does a double legal sponsorship every year, which is a $1,500 ask, and he's always happy to do it. So I think it's because they actually do use the money to go to specific things that the center needs is a big reason. And then I also think the venue is so great, being at Forest Hills, and some of these events, it'll take 6 or 7 hours or 8 hours to do one of these things. The nice thing about them is you check in at 11, you get a box lunch, you're teeing off at noon, and then they have a buffet style. You're in and out. You're not there till 10 o'clock at night. Now you can be if you want to be, but if you got to get up and go, it's great that way too. And they have great food there too. This year we're having steak dinners because it is our 20th, and they're actually, my dad used to wear a bucket hat when he used to golf, so they're giving out bucket hats this year just in memory of him. So it's kind of cool.
That's awesome. Love a good bucket hat, especially for golfing. You keep those ears from burning,
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Good deal. Well, if someone wants to plug into this, or maybe someone who's not a golfer, is there like a volunteer opportunity for someone to help out with this event for you guys?
There is. They would call Jay Ginestra, and he works at the center, and his number is 815-332-6800. They can also go to the website at cshni.org to register. So they do take volunteers. We have a lot of skills prizes and a lot of holes in one opportunities. So someone's got to watch those holes to make sure someone actually did get a hole in one. So
Okay.
It's just a really it's a neat event. It's neat because after doing it now for 20 years, having the guys like Jackson Oshita and some guys that have been playing in this for 20 years, and the sponsors that have been doing this for 20 years, it's more like a friend thing than anything else.
Yeah, it turns into what it turns into old home week every year. Right?
That's right.
Hey, we're glad to see people back from out of town, out of state that's comes back for this and wants to support what the Center for Sight and Hearing is doing and honor the memory of Gerald Broski. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, before we let you go, Kurt, I got to ask you a little bit about your business. Can you tell us about what you're up to these days personally in your business world?
Yeah, so my brother and I, we're at Entree Computers. We bought it back in 1997, and we get along great. I'm a CPA by trade, and owning a business with a family member doesn't always go great, but
Yeah.
the only time he and I argue is on the golf course, so that's a phenomenal thing. And he's great to work with, and we've had employees that have been with us since 1997. We have 46 employees. We're really focused in on security, as you know, that people are getting hacked all the time, and businesses are, and we really try to help them and try to be their trusted advisor. So that's everything we do is in line with being a trusted advisor. So we're really trying to help them lower their IT costs and be secure and those kind of things.
Yeah. Entree's been a trusted name in the state line for a number of years, long time here. So obviously you guys are doing something right. You must hire good people because you've been around for quite a while.
We have great people. They're awesome. It's fun to see them. We've changed a lot. I mean, when we first bought Entree, we were just selling, 56K machines with green monitors, and now we're doing a little bit of everything.
Weren't you doing a lot of phone systems back in the day too?
Oh, we still do phone systems too with Avaya and those kind of things for sure. And we do video surveillance. We do cabling, but mostly fixed on security, remote. We act as people's IT department, fixing their stuff remotely, or we can send someone on site if need be.
I imagine the whole phone thing has really had to change these last.
Oh yeah. Everything's in the cloud now, so which works great, and it's cost effective for people, and it's pretty seamless. So
awesome, good deal. Well, is there anything we haven't asked you about today that you wanted to make sure we touched on before we let you go?
No, I just want to thank all the people that have supported the center in this event. It's much appreciated. We, it's for a great cause. It's a great day, and this year's kind of a special one. I think we're the longest running non-for-profit golf outing in the area, which is kind of,
and there's a lot of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. So if people want to have a great time at a great course, and which is well run, Forest Hills Country Club does a great job of helping out with that too. Come and join us on June 23rd.
Awesome. Good deal. Well, we really appreciate your time with us this morning, Kurt, and we wish you the best with your outing coming up here. Again, the date for that is June. Where'd that go?
23rd.
23rd at Forest Hills Country Club. Good way to spend a Monday.
Absolutely.
Good way to spend a Monday. All right. Good deal. All right, buddy. Well, hey, thanks for jumping on, and we'll keep in touch.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. You have a great day.
All right. You too.
You too.
All right.
There he goes. Kurt Broski, Center for Sight and Hearing, big golf outing coming up on June 23rd. Still time to sign up and take advantage of that and spend a Monday in June on the golf course. I mean, hard to get much better than that, right? There you go. All right. I think my dog stopped barking now. Finally, Tom.
She wore herself out.
So my neighbor must have been doing something outside. She gets all upset when their kids play out in the street.
Oh my God, there's kids. Well, first of all, we're on my corner where I live. I don't live quite on the corner, but there's one house there. The kids gather at the bus stop, and if my dogs are out, they're just barking and barking and barking, and it drives me nuts. They bark at everything. And I got my little yippy dog, Honey, her name is, and she's a little Scotty or whatever. It's the sweetest dog in the world, but I mean, it's just awful. Anyway.
All right. I think we covered all of the bases today. So let's take care of this. Our big number of the week this week, which is well, our current race to 10. Tom's in the lead of a score with a score of 5-3, and our big number of the week this week is 22.6 billion. You sent me your answer right at the beginning of the show, and I got to check my records here to see what you did and who gets a point. Okay, so if something is edible these days, Tom, if something's edible these days, chances are that some brand has probably tried to put protein into it. Have you noticed how many things have turned into protein drinks?
Oh yeah. All of the meatless stuff.
Well, there's that too, but I'm talking about even just snacks that advertise the fact that they have a lot of extra protein put into them.
Okay, yes, I got you.
The low fat craze of the 80s and 90s has given way to the great proteinification of our grocery store shelves.
Proteinification.
There's a word for you today.
Wow.
Food brands have introduced 97 new products with protein in the name in 2024. That's 2 times more than the year prior to that. The fastest growing grocery items in the last year were the most protein-packed items, according to Nielsen IQ data in the Wall Street Journal. There's protein pasta. There's protein cereal. There's protein ice cream. There's protein chips. There's even now protein soda. That's a thing. Well, the U.S. protein supplement market was valued at $9.9 billion in 2024. It's projected to hit $22.6 billion by the year 2032. So the supplement was the answer. You chose space. I'm going to take the point this week. 18 karat gold Omega Speedmaster professional watch was once owned by Neil Armstrong, and it went to auction recently. It did not fetch $22.6 billion. It was $2.1 million, which is still a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
I think we would both agree that's a lot of money. $22.1 million at auction for a watch owned by Neil Armstrong. I know what you're thinking. He was wearing it when he went to the moon, right? No, he was not wearing it when he went to the moon. It was one of a limited batch of Omega gifted to several astronauts. President Richard Nixon got one. Vice President Spiro Agnew got one. This is all commemorating Armstrong's historic walk on the moon, but no, it was not on the moon. On the watch is engraved the words, "To mark man's conquest of space with time, through time, on time."
Wow.
Armstrong did wear an Omega watch into space, but it's a stainless steel watch. It's in the National Air and Space Museum. You can see it there. So, all right, there you go. The great proteinification of our grocery store shelves is what the focus was. And I don't know that I focus on buying products with protein in them, but then again, I buy protein supplement, and that's basically I've changed my breakfast a couple of years ago to where I'm no longer eating a bunch of sugary cereal stuff. I actually I have a liquid breakfast, and that liquid breakfast is some sort of protein enriched.
I don't eat a whole lot of cereal. Well, I don't eat sugared cereal. Every once in a while, my favorite cereal of all is Captain Crunch. Every once in a while, I will buy a small box of Captain Crunch. It's like $2.87 or whatever. And I will eat that pretty much all to myself because I'll do it in like 2 sittings. But the cereals I like I do like the Raisin Bran, throw some bananas in there. Chex cereal I like. Those are, they probably do have sugar. I really don't. I don't know. They probably do. But I stay away from the real sugary stuff. Every once in a while, Lucky Charms, they are magically delicious. So I'm
One of the podcasts I listen to talks about health in related things, and it's amazing how unhealthy things like Skittles and M&Ms are. Just the colors, the dyes and stuff that they're putting in these things. Skittles, I'm completely off of. I don't know if they'll ever be completely off of M&Ms. But
these two, Jolly
yeah,
Rancher gummies,
probably those two.
they're actually pretty good. I don't have that many left.
So anywho, all that to say, just be careful what you put into your body. No, understand
Oh,
that.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think it's really important to understand that sugar inhibits your immune system. So the more sugar you put into your body, the less your immune system is effective at fighting off of diseases. And
that's a really good point. And it's not just sugars either. And as we've learned from Robert F. Kennedy Jr. lately with the, is it the MAHA movement,
the
Make
Maha
America
movements.
Healthy Again? He's very serious about this. And he's got a good head on his shoulders. The sugars and the dyes and the grain, all of the stuff that goes into our foods
and turns
are
into
really
sugar.
killing us.
It is.
They are literally killing us. And the only reason we're living longer is because we get pills that'll counteract it. But the last 10 years of our lives are not very productive, not very good. So even if you live to be 75, well, the last 10, 12 years was kind of, with a walker or in a wheelchair or whatever.
Right.
So I don't know. Wow, it's just crazy. And they make so much money off of all of that. I should have went supplements. I knew it.
Well, you never know. Wanted to give a shout out this week to the Coronado, the Friends of the Coronado. They had a special Magical Monday tour of the Coronado Theater this past week on Monday. They're going to do it again in September, and I can't highly recommend it enough. It's so much fun to see the behind the scenes stuff that makes the Coronado Theater what it is and the history behind it. We got to see a lot of cool things on Monday because of the Magical Monday special thing at Coronado Theater, thanks to the Friends of the Coronado.
That's really cool. Coronado Theater, I was always freaked out by it when I was a kid because of the ornate construction or whatever.
Oh yeah, all the things.
But I see that. Oh yeah, and I see the beauty of it now, though. I do. It's a gem, and if you haven't had a chance to go, I say go. Because it's such acoustically, it's wonderful. It's just so great.
Right. We all got to be on stage for a little bit, and it was really, really cool. So
yeah,
check that out when you get a chance. And the next time you go to the Coronado for an event and you're waiting in the lobby, don't just stand in the lobby and look at your phone. Look up at the ceiling and the walls and the different things that were put there. I mean, they just don't do stuff like that anymore.
No, they don't, because it's not very cost effective. And it just, back then it wasn't an issue.
I asked the tour guide is there in the main lobby, they have, it's a 2-story thing, and there's pillars and there's all these things on the wall, and there's a woman's face, like every 6 or 8 feet around the room. There's a woman's face, and then all the ornamental things, and then there's that woman's face again, and all. I said, "Is that someone special?" And he goes, "No, it was just some random person that they got to do the mold. Whoever was willing to do the mold when they made it, just some random person. It wasn't like the architect's wife or mother or daughter or anything like that. It's not attributed to anybody."
Wow.
And they built the whole thing in like 2 years. It could have been just some random person off of the Rockford street that agreed to put their face in the mold.
Now, an interesting question would be, when they built the Coronado, did they build the adjoining buildings to the right and to the left at the same time? Was it all one big complex, or did they add those on afterwards?
I don't know.
I would think they built it all at the same time, because they probably had a purpose for those. Maybe sell them as shops and whatever. So
right,
I would, and then they've taken over some of those. Like I said, I don't know if you and I were talking about this or something. Here's what I think they ought to do. They ought to buy out one of those businesses next to it or whatever. Make it a cafe, so that when you go there to the thing, you go there at 5:00 and you eat, and then at 6:00, 6:15, you go over to your venue, and it can be a cafe that runs all year long anyway. Lots of things are downtown.
The
nice
Coronado
little cafe with, and maybe you could even give it an old time theme, like hamburgers, hot dogs, French fries, biscuits and gravy, stuff like that. Not that it would
Not a
be
bad
open in the
idea.
mornings, but
That's
I
a
think
pretty
that's
good
what they ought to
idea.
do. For those who are wanting to go to the Coronado for a 7:30 show, but they don't get out of work until 5, they can meet down there at the cafe at 5:15, 5:30, and they can eat. And then at 6:30, quarter to 7, they make their way over to the Coronado. I just think that would be and you could call it the Coronado Cafe.
I who's got the pockets? Who can
Oh,
make
there are
this
plenty
happen?
of people that have pockets. There are
Someone's got
plenty of
some
people
deep
that can do
pockets to
that.
make that work.
I think it'd be a wonderful idea. So I don't know how much time you got, but I do have a couple of quick questions.
Well, my last shout out of the week this week is to the Rock
yeah.
River Valley Blood Center. They're an urgent need right now. They've had some technical things going on. They discarded the app. If you had the app on your phone as a donor, you might as well just delete it because it's no longer being supported. Everything is being done on their website now, which that kind of threw me for a little bit of a loop this week. But I did get a chance to get in and donate yesterday. And today they're doing something special. If this, as we record this on Saturday, May 3rd, May the 4th be with you. That's tomorrow, right? May the 4th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So today they're doing a special, Save the Galaxy thing. They're giving away t-shirts.
Live long and prosper, or is it
Wrong
that way?
show. Wrong show.
Okay. Doggone it. I know. I'm kidding.
But if you are able, want to highly encourage you to head on down to the Rock River Valley Blood Center and help them out in this time of need. Summer, this time of year always seems to be a little bit slow as far as donations go, and the need for blood rarely does it go down. It usually only stays steady or goes up. So anyone who can, please spend that 45 minutes to an hour and give them a little bit.
I think it's worth noting on one of the commercials they say there is no synthetic replacement for blood. They haven't invented anything as a replacement for blood, which really surprises me. I'm very surprised by that, but that just shows the awesomeness of God, really. Because you can have an artificial heart, your artificial lungs, you can do so many different things medically, but no replacement for blood. So it's very, very important.
All right, so those are my big shout outs for the week, Tom. What did you want to cover?
Well, I was just going to say, when we talked last week, we still had one more day of trivia of the NFL draft. Rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7. Packers ended up with 5 picks. What did you think of the picks?
I mean, everything that I've read is giving the Packers an A or an A+ rating on their draft.
Well, A- is what I saw.
A-. It's in the A category, so I'm thrilled. I think Mark Murphy having that chance to go up there and announce the first pick and pick a wide receiver was pretty epic. And here's hoping he turns into the next Devontae Adams or the next Sterling Sharp.
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. What I thought was hang on one second here. Get it up. It was interesting that they picked 2 of the first 3 as wide receivers. Matthew Golden and was it Savion Williams?
It's probably a surprise. That was a bit of a surprise.
It was and it wasn't. They were sending a very clear message to the receiving room. One of the messages was 2 of you likely will be gone. 2 of the receivers that we have right now. One of them probably will be Romeo Doubs, and the other could be, I don't know, could be Dontavian Wicks. I don't know. He can't seem to catch the ball. The Packers led the league in dropped passes last year.
That's worth noting.
Yes, it is. And that's the main reason why they did that. To me, that is the main reason why they did that. We've got a defensive lineman, Baron Sorrell. He was the 4th pick in the draft. This guy apparently is pretty doggone good. He's from Texas. He's a beast. He's a beast. He's a defensive lineman. I think he was 300 and something pounds, whatever. And I just, and then we got for our 5th pick, we went defensive line again. Colin Oliver, don't know anything about him, but he again is, from what I understand, he's a beast. And then once again, defensive lineman Warren Brinson from Georgia. This guy, I did see some footage on him. He was our 6th pick. And then the 7th pick was Micah Robinson out of Tulane. pretty doggone good cornerback, and then the offensive lineman John Williams out of Cincinnati. He again is a beast. They had an A-. You may have seen A or A+, depending on who's rating it. Oh yeah, depending on who's rating it. The rating that I saw was A-, which was fine with me. You're an A. That's pretty good. If you get an A- on a test in school, mom and dad are happy as clams. So
Right.
I loved the draft. So I thought it was, and then they're talking about re-signing Jair, which I have no problem with, as long as they do incentive latent clauses with, if you play, then you get paid. That gives him the incentive. We'll find out. This will separate the men from the boys. We'll find out if he's really, really injured to the point where he can't play, or if maybe he's just like kind of lazy. We'll find out, won't we?
All talk and no walk. He's been a great player. He's had some great moments.
He has. He has, but he's been a rumor. He's been like David Bakhtiari for the last 3 years. David Bakhtiari played like 5 or 6 games out of 34 games.
Yeah.
Or whatever. He was just, you couldn't keep him.
Yeah.
And I don't believe David Bakhtiari went anywhere else. I think he went somewhere, but it didn't work out. And now I think he's out of football.
It's
one of the greatest left tackles the Packers have ever had.
So it was so good and had that. Was on pace to a Hall of Fame career, but I don't know. His injuries might have kept him from.
Yeah. Same thing with Jair. Same thing.
Right.
I just don't. I don't know. I don't know.
What did the coaches always say? The best ability is availability.
Yep. Oh, and then we got to tackle Anthony Belton from North Carolina State. Now this guy is a bona fide beast. He's like 6'6" and 320 pounds, somewhere in that general range.
A big dude.
Wow, I thought I was big.
And
I'm 6'3" and 265.
Stayed at the draft too to be announced, right? He was one of the guys that stayed, even though it was the third round. I think it was.
For who?
For Anthony.
No, second.
Second round.
Yeah, he was the second pick overall.
Went out there.
Second pick in the
walked
round.
the field and everything. It was really cool for him. So that was really cool.
Yeah. No, it was good. I am so looking forward to this season. The schedule comes out on May 14th. So we've just got 2 weeks. We got 11 days.
We know who they will play. We just don't know when. Without the actual schedule.
Right. For the most part, yes. There's a few that we don't know. We know they'll play the AFC. It's not the West. It's not the East. You know what? It could be the AFC East. Because they played the AFC South this past year. You know what? It's going to be the AFC Central, I think. North. The AFC North.
Packers opponents. Packers in 2025 play Baltimore.
Yes, AFC North. Baltimore, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh. Yeah. Because every 4 years you rotate them out. Every 4 years.
All right. Well, want to give one more quick shout out to the big budding artists thing that's coming up on this Friday, May the 9th, Tabala Event Center. Thanks to our friends at the Kiwanis Club of Rockford. Budding Artist 2025. The gala is at Tabala Event Center. And check out KiwanisClubofRockford.com for more information. I believe you can still get tickets this weekend. I don't think they cut it off yet, but it's totally deadline time, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely.
So that should be a pretty awesome thing. Always want to invite you to check out Tinker Swiss Cottage Museum and Gardens and see all the wonderful things that they are doing out at Tinker Swiss. Thanks to them again for hosting our In Crowd 815 networking group for April. Our group in May is going to be going out to Marshmallows Hope. Last Thursday of this month, we'll be at the Marshmallows Hope offices, which is off of Bell School Road. Big time thanks again to Medicare 411 for making it happen again, the Mass Karaoke Trivia Contest. And we had such a great time April 17th. Already looking forward to doing this again in the fall. Haven't nailed down a date yet, but we are definitely talking about that. Again, thank you and encouraging all to donate at the Rock River Valley Blood Center. Your donation does save lives. And our guest today, Camp I Am Me. The summer camp is June 15th through the 21st. If you have a burn victim in your life that you think would benefit from going to this camp, sign them up. If you'd like to volunteer and be a part of the wonderful work that they do during this week in June, check that out as well. We've got the link in the chat so you can check out all things Camp I Am Me. And we're working on some new stuff with Fresh Prince. You might have noticed my hat today, Tom, is a little different from the one that I normally wear. This isn't the black In Crowd 815 hat. This is a white one, and it's a little bit of a redesigned logo that it looks pretty good here. Up close, though, there was a little tweaking that we need to do with it yet. So the embroidery is a tricky thing, Tom.
Well, yeah, I imagine so.
Embroidery is a tricky thing. So we're trying to get this so that the letters look a little bit better up close.
Yeah.
From far away on the camera, it actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does. It does. I did notice that. I did.
One of the things we noticed.
I got my, I don't know, sand dunes hat or something like that. I like it.
We're promoting Michigan on the show today.
Yeah, apparently we are.
But one of the things we noticed about our logo being what it is it's a great logo, but it's very rectangular and it's hard to make it into a square. Yeah. So we did a little redesign on the logo and we're trying to make it look a little more square things off. And
you can't even see my In Crowd 815. I got to go this way. My In Crowd, I don't even know. It's over there. It's over there. It's behind a bunch of stuff. I'm thinking about redoing my background because I got so much stuff up there. It's cool. It looks wonderful. If you're here and you're looking at it, by the way,
you could tweak it every week.
My pet rock. Yeah.
Throw a little eyeballs on anything and you've got yourself a pet.
He's 50 years old now. 1975. He's 50. Still has his eyes, although they're kind of crossed.
I would have put money on it, Tom, that the pet rock was invented in the 60s. I totally thought it was invented and brought to market in the 60s.
Yeah, because a bunch of hippies sitting around in 66, 67 going, hey, man, wouldn't it be great to have something like a pet rock and we can sell it and make money? And then somebody says, oh, come on, man. There's no way that could happen. Anyway. Remember that old commercial where these three young kids are near a creek and a guy picks up a cup and he's like, hey, we should bottle water. It's water, man. Come on. Don't be stupid.
Stupid. What a dumb idea, man.
Yeah. Now it's one of the greatest industries of all.
One of the lines in our musical this summer that I'm in at Starlight Theater, the Wedding Singer, Glenn is the finance guy, and one of his people tell him that there's a coffee company out in Seattle that's about to go national. Should we invest in it? And he goes, no one's ever going to pay $3 for a cup of coffee. Next, do something good. Yeah. And of course, they're doing something else that's a really bad idea, and he loves it. So it's funny.
That is funny. That's one I'll probably come out and see. I made Shrek. I made the Disney one, the kid one. The Disney kid one. 2 years ago.
We've done a few of those. But yeah.
What was it?
Little Mermaid?
It wasn't Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid is huge. This year's probably biggest draw, if I had to guess, is probably going to be Grease. Grease is pretty popular, and everyone knows the movie, and the movie is essentially a musical anyway. So
yeah. All right, so I got to ask a question then, and all right. The movie Grease, when it came out, that iconic scene in 1978, when Olivia Newton-John turns around and she's got the leather jacket and the cigarette hanging out of her mouth, and she goes, "What's up, stud?" or whatever, and then better watch out because I need a man, and she takes it and awkwardly throws it away. Clearly a non-smoker. But there were a lot of young kids started smoking at that time. So is Grease, your musical, going to incorporate that, or are they going to leave that one out? I'm hoping they leave that one out. I think it's. I don't care about artistic integrity and this and that because it's all about poetic license anyway. So
I don't know. I think fake cigarettes are part of the show. I'm not in the show, so I don't know for sure, but I got a feeling that they're using the whole fake cigarette thing. The
Okay,
whole.
well, AI just gave me this question. If you were in the show, what part would you play?
If I was in Greece, I probably would be the principal.
Oh, really?
I was.
She was a woman, though.
Well, the principal, the head coach, the coach guy.
Okay.
Yeah, the coach there for the track team and such. Or the PE teacher / coach.
You could be Zuko, Danny Zuko. That was John Travolta, right?
That's John Travolta, and then the guy that was the TV star that does the show from Rydell High. That was the one part I thought I might want to do this summer, and thought I might audition for, and then the schedule of the shows, I was like, that just isn't going to fit for my summer, so I didn't try out for that one at all.
I know I'm a pretty busy guy with a few jobs here and there, and trivia and DJing and cleaning and whatever I'm doing. I think you are maybe twice as busy as me. Maybe 3 times.
I probably just fake it really well. That's all.
Maybe that's
it's the life of a realtor, man. The life of a realtor. You always got to be available to your clients to go show houses and write contracts and do all that fun stuff. So it's you can't schedule stuff like that sometimes.
Well, if you got a call at like 4:30 in the morning and some
no,
guy says,
no.
Well,
I'm not taking up that call.
Hang on. It's Bob Smith, and Bob Smith is a local millionaire, and he wants.
Am I related to Bob Smith?
Now, hey,
I'm
hear
not
me
answering
out.
the phone.
Hear me out. You know Bob Smith. He's in your phone, and you know that he's got to catch a plane early, and he needed to talk to you early. I guarantee you're answering that phone at 4:30.
No,
you are.
No. If Bob's not my family, I ain't picking up no phone call at 4:30 in the morning. It ain't happening.
If you're pending a deal and you're waiting on an answer that he's going to either buy or not, you're answering. Anyway,
I gotta sleep, man. That sleep is
that's
really
true.
important.
So one final thing, I don't know if we're wrapping this up, but one thing I wanted to get in. My birthday, of course, as you know, is September 29th. Okay. So last year, I was going to I went with my son and my 2 grandsons on September 14th to the Packer game. It was game 2, and it was in Lambeau, obviously, and it was against Indianapolis, and we won 16-10. I was going to go on my birthday, but they were playing the Vikings. I don't like the Vikings. I didn't want to potentially risk losing to the Vikings, which we did, 31-29. It was a miserable game. I watched it on TV. We were down 28-0, if you remember, and then it was 28-7, I think, or something like that, at the half. And then we ended up coming back, holding them to only 3 points in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
So we clearly figured it out, but a little too late. But anyway, my goal this year is for just my son and I to go. And I'm waiting for the schedule to come out. We're going to go do a I wanted Brewers Cubs, but we're going to do a Brewers game on Saturday, then shoot up to Green Bay later that day and stay overnight, and then do a Packer game on Sunday. That's the goal. And I'm hoping to God that week 4, which it should be week 4 or week 3, depending, will be like September 27th or 8th, I think, is the Sunday. I think, because I think my birthday's on them. Anyway, I don't remember, but I think it's September 28th. I am going to hopefully see a Packer game in Lambeau. However, if the week before, like week 3 or week 2, is in Lambeau, then I'll just do a week earlier for the Brewer game. But then the Brewers will probably be on the road. Who knows? Whatever. But that's what we're planning. So I got a buddy who gave me
tickets. Gotta find those tickets.
Well, okay. So my buddy from trivia, he got me the tickets last year.
Okay.
And
gotta have a connection for tickets up there, right?
Otherwise, my goodness. Oh yeah. Because it'd be my luck, they'd be playing like the Lions or something like that, and it'll be a ticket that you cannot get for under $600 or whatever.
Like any sporting event these days, you can always go there, show up, and hope somebody's outside, selling tickets that aren't outrageously priced.
Usually, if you've got a bunch of tickets and it's quarter till, well, you're not getting rid of those tickets if you don't. So the advantage goes to me. The advantage goes to the person buying them. However,
depends where they are.
You have to have cash. It's not like you're going to be able to give them your credit card and say, here, just there you go. And you also have to be wary of the fact that it could be a fake ticket too.
Uh-huh.
Could be a fake ticket.
You're gonna walk with me. You're gonna walk with me up to the to the entrance and make sure this ticket actually works.
Yeah, exactly. And that would be the problem there. So anyway, that's my goal, and I'm going to talk to my buddy Rich and see if that deal still goes for getting free tickets. He says he gets free tickets all the time from work. He has an expense account. You know, he has clients that are $10 million a year clients that give him tickets. He denies. He pushes. Turns down more tickets than he gets.
Oh,
so
nice.
I am going to see if that's available again.
All right.
May 14th is the day, buddy. May 14th. As far as June 22nd or June 2nd, the NAMI outing, you are on board, right? Because I will tell. Okay, I will tell Danielle to sign up you, me, and Ron, and I'm looking for a fourth. Don't worry about it. I'll find a fourth. And if we don't, we'll do just like we did when we golfed with well, it was you, me, it was Michael Coolidge and Dwayne, right? So we had our four.
Ago. Yeah.
That was a while ago. We had our four.
Yeah. That was fun. Hopefully the NAMI event's all filled up and they get a lot of people to sign up for that again this year.
Yeah.
So.
It's $1.25, so it's well worth it. So I will not be able to stay for the meal probably. So what I'm gonna have you do, if you
just
could,
eat your food. I'll just eat your food.
Eat my food, take it home with you. Yeah, no. Just tell him, I'll just tell Danielle I can't go. So you take my food.
All right, let's wrap this thing up. Next week, we've got Rockford Robotics on the program. His name is Jeffrey Wilcia. He's a mentor there for all things Rockford Robotics. High school kids, I believe middle school kids too, making random things into robots and doing awesome things. We're going to talk all about Rockford Robotics next week here on the In Crowd 815 podcast. Remember, you change the world when you help one person. Be a blessing to someone this week. We'll try to do the same. Meet you back here for another In Crowd 815 podcast. Thank you, Tom. Thanks to our guests, all of them, Kurt, Tim, Jesseka, Phil. Thanks for joining us today.
815 in crowd. 815 in crowd. 815 in crowd. 815